comedy is subjective, right? Everyone is into different things. We've all had that moment when a relative sends you a video link, followed by this emoji, and well, it's AI slop. But I have to assume that the people that watch comedy anime, specifically my fellow fans, are broadly aligned on what gives them a good chuckle because there is a pervasive style to it. Sure, there's probably some outliers, but you know exactly what I am talking about. It's exaggerated reactions, characters with stringent archetypes, and bizarre occurrences. But even more prevalent than that is a self-awareness of anime culture. From beach episodes to botched confessions, in comedy anime these are often hyper-fixated on to generate a sort of signature comedy. This works because of just how omnipresent all the gags are. It is like being part of a club that just gets each other. But after you watch the 100th or so anime, it can become monotonous, even if you can still appreciate it. The obvious answer is to then try something different. But what if you don't do that, and instead crank it up to levels beyond anything else that exists? Well, you would get City, the animation. City is actually set in a town, an interesting title I know, and it is full of captivating folks. The series effectively plays snippets of the residents' lives continuously. Sometimes they can be isolated events, or they can comprise multiple parts that link together. To be fair, it's not too dissimilar to the British soap.
Pizza boys, yeah, we come in heavy blood. Sons of anarchy to
Get out of it! You off your nut, you, I'm telling you.
Not that I expect anyone to know what that is. However, instead of cranky Brits, you get some of the most wonderfully anime characters out there. Normally that's brought up as a bad thing, but here, I think part of what sells City as a sensational comedy is the fact that these are larger-than-life characters. I love them all, which is especially important with this setup. Because like any series, there are main characters, but in this instance, I think it's better to label them simply as the characters that reappear the most. Because nearly all characters that get even a moment of screen time have a guaranteed moment of excellence in City. Here's an extreme example to start with: Mimineko, part series mascot and part local menace. In one scene, he goes down to the sewer and has a discussion with the various other creatures of City. The conversation starts with a giant salamander and ends with this thing. The absurdity is quite funny in and of itself, but the subtext of their discussion, trying to find a place in a dangerous, human-dominant world, is done in a way that is ironically relatable to what ordinary people get scared of, in a hyper-blown-up way, of course. This is one aspect that makes the comedic anthropomorphism that is present in City so great. I want to point out this character, first introduced in that sewer scene, also has a moment to shine when he returns in a meeting with one of the main characters, Nikura. She is of course after the 100 yen coin and proceeds to punch him into oblivion. Presumably admiring her determination, he returns the locket she had intended to purchase with that 100 yen. The scene is constructed to show comical determination, but there's actually a soul to the moment, because again, it is illustrating ideas that are quite human, just in a extravagantly bombastic way. Because of City's complete disregard for the rules of traditional storytelling, any two characters can interact in meaningful ways. What I just showed you is one of many examples. The unpredictability of who might entangle for a moment is core to what makes this slice of life as fun as it is. Then you have the other side, the characters that are major parts of each other's lives. This is where I want to talk about Nagumo and Nikura. They have the kind of personalities that bring about utter lovable chaos. Nagumo is zestful, which is not uncommon in anime comedy, but she also has a self-centered determination to extract as much as possible out of things, be that prizes from competitions, or some nicely discounted food. She often fails to get exactly what she wants, but who doesn't, to be fair? Nikura is honestly kind of similar to Nagumo in a fair few ways, maybe with the strong caveat of being much more responsible. Even when it is not shown, you can tell that Nikura has admiration for Nagumo as they go about their antics in City, which later is revealed to be essentially how their relationship started. Picking a gag to talk about for this pair is hard, but I think it would be outrageous not to mention their attempt at starting a YouTube channel.
こんなクソ動画では金は稼げません。
This bit is top tier. So Nikura presents the idea of starting a channel as a way to make some extra quick cash. Now everyone knows their first video will be shit, which the show leans into by having their first video being Nagamo do rock paper scissors with herself. From here the jokes keep firing, mostly centered around false ideas creators tend to have when they start making stuff. But one thing that is kind of true is needing to do something to stand out, which Nikura decides is going to be this outfit, which is a great mascot if you're asking me. The pair slowly begin to embrace the entrepreneurship needed to go viral. In this case, instead of that being filming god-awful pranks, it culminates with Nikura declaring that videos that use Mambo No. 5 as a sync
大丈夫です。マンボナンバー5入れますんで。
are a surefire way to reach success. The show actually licensed the song, by the way, which, to be clear, it's not this one, but even still, that speaks volumes about why City the Animation is so good, because there's love and care put into it. I want to move on to really highlight how crazy City the Animation can get, as if to say anything mentioned thus far isn't that wild, but episode 9 is kind of in its own league. A race is usually a fairly mundane sporting event. You just keep running. But what happens if you add obstacles, tests of partnership, and get rid of all laws of reality? That's the whole of this episode, and it involves nearly all of City's characters. Even better is the fact that they run in pairs, which means you get a heightened dose of their energy as they bounce off each other literally and figuratively. Take the two lovable classmates Eri and Matsuri. In the second checkpoint for the race, they partake in a game called Matchmaker, where each pair has to guess the same answer to a question in order to advance. Well, it's already established that they think one and the same, so naturally they advance almost instantly amidst the other competitive struggles. There's also a maze with a creature that I'm almost certain only appears here, elusively wreaking havoc with some of the pairs, and not even crossing the path of others. Now, everyone knows that walls are just illusions, so naturally the best way to get through a maze is to just run straight on through. Then there's the climax of this episode, a continuous shot of everyone running across a bridge towards the finish line. There's explosions, projectiles, and dynamic camera angles stringed together in a way that no Hollywood director would dare attempt. It is so absurd and fantastic. It brings back this idea that you can do anything in anime, especially when you have passionate animators that make it work. I love it. So in a nutshell, what exactly makes City the Animation peak? Well, for starters, there's a visible love for the craft of making anime. From a technical perspective, it is just impossible to make something so brilliant without caring deeply about the medium you are making it for. It is the kind of series that I'd never be able to cover as it fully deserves. After all, there's amazing feats of comedic direction or exceptional animation happening constantly. Then there's the fact that City does something differently to pretty much all other comedies. It's broken down into mini episodic bursts of fun, with absolutely no rules for what can happen in them, and yet somehow makes the show flow in a general direction that still has development. In City, there's rarely any one-trick pony characters. They are the life force of what you are watching. In fact, the direction of the anime makes sure every aspect of their personality is displayed in a vibrant and unconventional way, which as a whole makes for something very enjoyable to watch. Overall, this is a series that you need to watch if you enjoy and respect comedy anime. It is the best in its class in what feels like a very long time. As always, I've been Russ, and have a great night or day.